back to Life Curious Women. This is episode 10 of season 5, which is crazy. I cannot believe how quickly this season is flying by. It is like insane, but I'm so grateful to all of y'all for tuning in every single week. Thank you for watching on YouTube, which is a whole new medium that we launched this season. And if you're new here, welcome. You are right on time because we have so much going on in the next couple of weeks. We are leaving in less than 2 weeks. We are leaving to India for our second annual Connection to Purpose retreat, which is crazy. There are 10 of us. We have all of our visas ready. We have been chatting in our WhatsApp group and talking about what we're going to pack. I haven't even thought about the clothes that I need to pack for this trip, but I am so excited. We have surprise merch for everybody and some brands that we're going to be sharing with everyone who are partnering with us on our retreat. So I'm so excited, y'all. Like, I cannot wait, and it could not come at a better time. Truly, I feel like I've been feeling the weight of the world literally on my shoulders between everything going on in our country, everything going on globally, but also everything that's been going on for me personally. I think I'm going through a major transformation within the last couple of months. So I'm really craving exactly what I designed this retreat for, which is the time and space to be able to ground yourself, to be able to connect with others, and to be able to truly connect with your purpose on a deeper level that you cannot do in your regular day life. Like, it is just not possible. And I felt it and I experienced it our last retreat. So I know that we are going to a new location with more women than we did last year. We have several women who are new to the retreat this year, several that are coming again with us on this retreat. So I'm just ready for the experience because I'm really needing it. I'm needing that female community. I'm needing inspiration. I'm needing to detach and disconnect from my daily life and really be present in a new culture and learn and experience. And I could not think of a better place to do that than India. So I'm so excited. I feel like all the stars are aligning, and I'll be bringing you guys along with me. If you remember last year, I did daily podcast episodes, just quick recaps of our day each day. And it was not only a really great way for me to recap our experience each day and reflect, but I think also it was a great way to bring you guys along and share our daily findings that we are experiencing each day, because I think there's so much to take away whether or not you're on the retreat itself. And so get ready because there's going to be so much coming your way, and I can't wait to share with y'all. And I think I'm going to be opening up our wait list for our next retreat a little bit earlier than I did last year. So if you're interested, stay tuned for that. I'll be sharing a wait list very, very soon so that you're the first person to know about our next retreat. Now, our last retreat, this retreat that we're going on, sold out within less than a month. It was crazy. So if you want to hear about our next retreat, where we're going, what we're doing, and have first dibs on that, I would totally sign up for our wait list. I'm pumped though. Before we even think about that, I'm already thinking 5 steps ahead, but before we even think about that, I'm so pumped for this and ready for this experience. So yeah, y'all, as I'm sitting here looking outside and it is snowing, there's a blizzard here in New York City. So I'm like already like can't wait to be there. But anyways, I'm really excited for today's episode because as I've been reflecting on this retreat, on our last retreat, on why I even decided to host a retreat, why I even decided to start Life Curious Women, I've been really reflecting on leadership and on our healing journeys and how our leadership and our healing really go hand in hand. And I think that one of the things that comes up for most people, specifically women, is that we feel like we have to have all the answers, be fully healed in order for us to be leaders, to be qualified leaders. And I just don't think that's true at all. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how you don't need to be finished, quote unquote, to be a leader. I think that leadership is truly an integration practice. I think it's a learning journey. And I think that there is no better place to learn than considering yourself a leader and being in a leadership role within your life. And this is for everyone. You don't have to own your own business. You don't have to have a team within your job. You don't have to be a manager. You don't have to have any of those things in order to be a leader in your life, because I can guarantee that even if you don't think of yourself as an official leader, that there are people around you that look up to you, that see you as an expander, that are truly looking to you as a leader. And so that's what we're going to talk about today, is how to feel fully confident as a leader while still healing, while still learning, because I've done it, certainly. And I say this having been the person and continuing, to have certain beliefs and thoughts that pop up here and there of like, am I qualified to be sitting behind a podcast mic, sharing my experience with people, giving advice, giving steps to people? Am I qualified to host a retreat? Like, what are my qualifications for all of this? And I think that that's exactly what we're going to talk about, is how to continue to heal, how to continue to integrate within your life and grow while still feeling fully confident in your leadership. And in fact, I think when you think of yourself in that way, as someone who is continuously learning, continuously curious, continuously growing, and still being a leader, and so fully feeling confident that you can lead, those are the best kinds of leaders. Those are the best kinds of leaders I've ever come across. So I used to think that the women I looked up to, the leaders, right? Like the big leaders, whether they were on social media, whether they were in real life, were fully healed, were totally embodied, had no insecurities, had all the answers, and just knew exactly what to do at all times. But the reality is, the more and more I grew into my own leadership, the more and more I listened, I started to realize that's not true. No one is fully healed. No one has all the answers. And if that were true, there would be no one left to lead. But I have felt it countless times. I felt it in my acting career. Who am I to just like suddenly start acting? I didn't study acting in undergrad. There were all these people that got into this prestigious acting program at my undergraduate program and graduated and maybe had agents. And I decided post graduation to be like, you know what, I'm going to be an actor and I'm going to pursue this career, and starting from the ground up. And that voice, the imposter syndrome, always constantly was in my ear. Same went for the podcast, where I was so excited. I listened to the call to start the podcast, but there were just so many moments of feeling like, well, who am I to talk about this? Let's even fast forward to something even more recent, the retreat. Like, who am I to sell something to a community? Who's going to want to go and do this life-changing experience and invest in not only themselves, but in me? Because part of it is investing in the experience that I'm helping to facilitate. And I have felt that so many times. I still feel that in a lot of moments, but it's gotten quieter. It's gotten quieter as I continue to do the work. And so you don't have to wait for the end of your growth to consider yourself a leader, because it is not the ending. It is part of your growth. I mean, I think that the proof is in the pudding. You can go through episodes within Life Curiosum and within this podcast, and you will hear me talk about it. I talk about the growing pains and the questions I have and the things that I don't know. And it's so cool for me to be able to go back and look at older episodes and see my progression and see my growth. And look, the fear comes up of like sharing something and maybe not fully knowing something, or being too vulnerable, or being wrong about something. And I'm sure that if I go back to the very first season, which I haven't done in a while, and listen to episodes, that there are things that I don't fully agree with anymore, or fully embody anymore, because that is the point, is to continue to grow in my leadership, to continue to grow in this journey. And there are so many things that I have done along the way in complete fear. And I've talked about this throughout, many episodes. Like I just mentioned, the retreat. I was terrified to host a retreat. I was terrified. And that fear lingered for many months, even as seats were selling. I was terrified of it. I was like, I don't know, maybe people think I'm silly. Just all of the cringe and the fear of judgment and all of these things of just not feeling worthy, because I'm like, well, I don't know everything. Like, who's going to listen to me? Even as I was recording episodes on this podcast, those voices still came through, and I took so much action through fear. I feel like that has been my whole journey, is continuing to take action even though I'm scared. Okay, so I want to talk about, why do we feel like we need to be like, quote unquote, done, right? Which, by the way, you will never be done. Like the journey will never end. The growth will never end. That should never be your mindset, is like, oh, there's an end point to my growth, my success, my healing. Like there will always be something else that will inevitably pop up. That is not to say that we are a never ending project, because that is not the goal. We're not trying to finish something. Like we're not trying to be finished as like a human person. But I do think that we should remain curious, that we should remain open, and know that like things will continue to evolve and we'll continue to change as we grow. But why do we feel this need to wait until we're done in order to like take an action, to start a business, to start posting on social media, like whatever your thing is? I think part of it is fear, and you need to dig into where that fear is coming from, because there can be various reasons why. Perfection masked as fear, feeling like you have to be extremely perfect, because otherwise then people will judge you, or you're false, you're an imposter. Feeling like you have to have like some form of credentials in order to share your experience or start something. And I think also just like comparison. Like there's so much on social media right now. There are so many experts, quote unquote, out there, and it can be hard. It can be hard to feel fully confident when there's like a million people out there saying with definitive voices that like this is the way and these are the things. But the thing is, no one has your special sauce. I hate that phrase, but like no one has that. You're unique and you have something new and different to share, and comparing yourself to those people is going to hold you back forever. And I think what's layered amongst all of this is the fact that we're women. We feel this need to over prepare, to be perfect. We feel fear of being exposed, or this fear of being seen. And it's interesting, because when I see other people that maybe aren't as qualified, and oftentimes are men, they don't seem so scared to just be fully out there and not perfect, and learn as they go. And so let's talk about, what does leadership actually mean? What is leadership? I think that for me, leadership is being able to hold space without having all the answers, and being honest about that, and being open that you don't know all the answers, but that you do know what you do know, and that you have done the work to learn and dig in, but have the honesty and the confidence to say, I don't know everything. I'm still learning. The thing I believed 2 years ago that I said I believed, I don't believe that anymore. That takes true. I think that leadership is being a facilitator. And that's really how I view myself. I really view myself as just like a vessel for everyone else. Like I don't think I know everything. I don't think I have all the answers. But I do feel like I can hold space for others. I do feel like I can be a facilitator to create space, which is why the retreat feels like such a right step for our community, because I feel like I can be a vessel for that type of environment, for that type of experience. I think leadership is just modeling honesty, not perfection, honesty and authenticity and being real. And I think it's creating containers, like I said, creating these type of containers for other people, not trying to control the outcome or tell people exactly how to be and what to do. It bothers me when I hear quote unquote leaders talk in that way and instead just share their experiences, understand that there are so many nuances to things, and create space and containers for other people to bloom in their own leadership. I think that leadership is directly connected to the process, creating space for other people to have their process. I don't think it's a mastery of a particular topic or a particular journey. And then here's the thing that I think happens is I think when you're not doing the healing work along the way, you lean into performing instead, where there's still all of this fear and, judgment on yourself and all these things, but then you're masking it and you're performing on top of all of that instead of being honest and open and authentic and being confident in knowing that you don't know everything and that you're changing and evolving and healing. And I think that you sometimes see this with people online. That's like the most prominent example for me. It's people that are super polished, only showing you the good sides. They're only sharing, this is what to do when X thing is happening for you. And that's it. It's definitive. It's just inauthentic. It's inauthentic. And I think more and more people are starting to wake up to that and not like content like that. That's why I think TikTok did so well, because it's so unpolished. It's so real. Like that's true leadership when you can create a community that is fully honest and authentic and just like you. I really think that like I try to view leadership from a perspective of like being transparent, process oriented. You see it in my podcast. Like I am constantly talking through my own personal experiences, what I'm learning, and like the process. The process. And if you think about it, all the people that you probably really look up to as leaders, these are the qualities that they hold. You start to fall in love with their evolution, not just the little end result, polished result, perfection box tied in a bow product at the end. And I think it took me a really long time to consider myself a leader, because it felt, and sometimes still feels, self-centered in a way. But I think that's a mistake. I think to think in that way, because I think that everyone is a leader in some capacity. And I think having the confidence to say you're a leader and redefining what leadership means in the way that we are today completely changes that feeling and that sense of like entitlement. Because I think that the traditional sense of leadership is they're an expert, they know everything, and they say things definitively, and they're the end product because they've figured it all out. And so I want to encourage you, if you're listening and you feel the same way of like, it's a little self-centered to call myself a leader, or I'm not qualified enough, like to start practicing calling yourself a leader, because you are. If you're listening to this, you are. And I will say that there are so many components to this leadership journey, because it truly is all internal work. I think it's mindset work. I think it is money mindset work. I think it's identity work. I think it's practicing being vulnerable, practicing making mistakes and feeling okay with making mistakes. That is a major one that I am currently working on. I think it's boundaries, whether it's with other people or with your time or with your emotions. I think it's slowing down. It's realizing you can't do everything. You can do anything, you can't do everything at all times. And I think for me, my version of leadership continues to evolve and expand as I evolve and expand. My definition of leadership is completely different than it was 2 years ago, even, because I think that now I value and see the value in slowing down, in creating space, in not working all of the time. And I'm reflecting all of this right now because we are leading up to our retreat. And I'm thinking about the type of experience that I want our community to have while we're there and how I can be a better facilitator. I'm not there to tell them how to feel, what to do, what to experience, all those things. No, I'm there to be a facilitator. I'm there to help them along the journey, help them along the process, and just create space for them. Okay, so to recap, I'm speaking to you, all of my multi-passionate, life-curious women out there who are coaches, who are entrepreneurs, who are business owners, who are creatives, who are just multi-passionate, curious people on a growth journey, on a healing journey. Because if you're here, you are all of those things. You are a leader. And you're a leader when you're honest. You're a leader when you're authentic. You're a leader when you're committed to your own personal growth. You're a leader when you set those boundaries. You're a leader when you rest. You're a leader when you're not positioning yourself as the answer. You're a leader when you're vulnerable. You're a leader when you're holding space for others. Leadership is about integrity. It's about curiosity. And it's about the responsibility that you have to bring your gifts to the world, whatever that is. And so I'll leave you with this. You don't have to be finished, fully healed to be impactful. In fact, I think it's the opposite. You don't have to be perfect to hold space, and you don't have to be done to begin, to take action. Because I'm not leading because I know all the answers, or I'm fully healed, or I know what to do at every moment, or I don't have any fear. That's not why I've chosen to embody leadership. I'm leading because I am committed to growth, my own growth, but your growth as well, because I believe in each and every one of you. And I'm not just saying that. All right, y'all. I hope that this was helpful. I hope this was illuminating. I hope this helped with furthering your leadership and understanding that we can be ever evolving and still be leading and still hold space for people, because that is what real leadership is like. So if anything hit home for you, if you know of anyone that is needing to hear this message, please share this episode with them. If you are not subscribed to the podcast, please subscribe to the podcast. We're trying to grow this community, trying to build it out. And if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. Hit the little button down below, subscribe so that you don't miss any episodes. And lastly, if anything is hitting home for you, if you are wanting to hear about the next retreat, please make sure you're signed up for our newsletter, but also keep an eye out because I'm going to be releasing a waitlist very soon. So you will be the first one to hear about the next retreat. All right. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching if you're watching on YouTube, and I will talk to you next week.